Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Virginia's first Google to Great webinar. This webinar series is designed to give you an overview of how to actually use the powerful tools that Google has created and some practical tips from a small business perspective. Each webinar focuses on one Google product. All of our Google to Great webinars will be presented by Sidney-Smith.
Thank you, Tracy, and thanks to the Virginia SBDC for having me this morning. Welcome, everyone. So today we're going to be talking about Google Sites, and what we're going to do is I'm going to give a little bit of background on Google Sites just so everybody has sort of context as it relates to the product, and then I'm going to go through launching an actual site. Google Sites is very simple to use, and it's best to show how simple it is to use by actually using the tool right in front of you to launch a website. I'm going to talk about changing the look and feel and show some examples of websites that have used Google Sites to see what it can do, and then I'm going to take you behind the scenes to see some of the navigation features for the basic tools and some intermediate tools as well. So first and foremost, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. If you're on Twitter and you're a tweeple like I am, a Twitterer, you can go ahead and send me messages at W3 Consulting, hashtag those Google to Great, and I'll be happy to go ahead and answer those questions subsequent to the webinar. So go ahead and feel free to send me those messages on Twitter, and I'll be happy to do so. If you have questions during the webinar, as Tracy said, go ahead and send those through the webinar panel, and they will come to me somehow. Tracy will interrupt me. So Google Sites actually started out as a product called JotSpot. JotSpot was created by the co-founders of Excite. I don't know if anybody remembers Excite.com, but it used to be a search engine. It still exists, but not in the same tier as Google and others of the major search engines. So Joe Kraus and Graham Spencer created JotSpot, and they created it using an eponymous software company called JotSpot. And that company itself was acquired by Google in 2006. Now, this was really smart of Google because JotSpot had gotten all of this acclaim because there were other sites out there. You know, there was a couple of other websites that were allowing you to be able to create websites live and free without knowing HTML or any other type of web coding. You didn't have to understand any programming language in order to be able to do that. You would just go out there and do this. So over the years, Google has developed Google Sites from Google Pages and some other products, and has wrapped it up into this product called Google Sites, which allows you to create a team-oriented website where multiple people can go ahead and develop the site, collaborate, and share and communicate all in the same space. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the Google Sites product that is free. It allows you to be able to allow any number of users to be able to access the information, and you can have page-by-page permissions, which means that you can have a part of the website be completely public to everyone else, and then parts of the website being completely silent or only shared by a few parties. Okay? So the product is free. It's separated from Google Apps. Google Apps is the tool that allows you to have this seamless background infrastructure for your small business. And the product, Google Apps, has Google Sites built into it. And so you can use Google Sites if you have a Google Apps for Business account or a Google Apps free account, and you can go ahead and do that. Google Sites by itself, if you go to google.com/sites, S-I-T-E-S, you'll be taken to the free version, and you'll be able to use that tool. Now you can have a custom domain, and I'll talk about that later, but just to mention, it's $10 in order for you to buy a domain through Google and use that, but you don't have to. They'll give you a google.com/sites, web domain URL, but you don't have to have that, which was a requirement once upon a time before they relaunched it in May of 2008. So a couple of limitations regarding Google Sites, just while we're at it. You're allowed up to 100 megabytes of storage space within the Google Sites system. So in the free account, you're allowed 100 megabytes, which is not so much. That's not so bad, considering I'm going to show you how a lot of that data isn't actually held on the website itself. It's held in other types of accounts that are all based on your Google account, but you're really not using that much storage space literally on the site itself. If you have a Google Apps account, per user, you're allowed 25 gigabytes of storage space. So it's a considerable amount more data than otherwise. The site allows some customization, and as I talked about earlier. That's one of the items I'll be showing you, sort of changing the look and feel of it. You're not allowed to use CSS really in the entire site. You have to use the site themes and templates that they provide. However, you can go ahead and change a lot of different things, like font type and font size. You can change colors of background and colors of text and so on and so forth. And the gadgets that I'll be showing you, some of the gadgets that are available to you, you can use CSS, and if you know a little bit of JavaScript, you can go ahead and customize the embedded gadgets using those tools within the system. But otherwise, you're pretty much limited to the themes and templates that they provided. If you were thinking about e-commerce, Google Sites allows you to develop an e-commerce solution using the Google Wallet system. Once upon a time, it was called Google Checkout. You could probably still go to google.com/checkout. It'll take you to the Google Wallet format. Google Wallet is, of course, the marrying of e-commerce and mobile commerce, the ability to pay by your smartphone or cell phone directly in front of a vendor in real time, in real space. And then, of course, the Google Wallet portion that's e-commerce that allows you to buy through a website. Okay? And then finally, as I said before, you can go ahead and buy a domain through Google for $10, and it's your domain forever. And you can go ahead and use Google Sites using this custom domain. That means yourbusiness.com, right? Then if you have your own domain already, you already have a custom domain, it's yoursmallbusiness.com, you can go ahead and use that. You just have to be able to, one, you have to own it, and two, you have to go ahead and have access to be able to change that CNAME record. So it's a special type of coding, but if you talk to your web programmer or web developer, they would be able to help you go ahead and change that CNAME and port it over to your Google Sites site. All right, so let's get into the tool, and I'm going to launch a site. I'm just going to take us through the ability to launch a site. Forgive me while we have a little bit of a hiccup in the screen here. And I'm just going to jump over to... All right, so when you come to your web browser, you're just going to go to google.com/sites. Here I'm going to go ahead and log into my account. This is a dummy account that you see on screen, so please don't email me here. I just created this for the Google to Great series, and therefore I won't be monitoring this email address. So here we are. I've logged into the account, and you can see that I've created some sample sites here. But on the left-hand side panel, you can see right below the title of the product, Sites, you just click on Create. Okay, so the big red button, I'm going to click Create. And what it does is it now displays for me the ability to go ahead and pick a template for that site. So in this case, I can choose a blank template, and then it says classroom template, soccer team, spring floral, wedding instructional template. Those templates are displayed based on the popularity of the templates and the amount they're used in the system. So blank template, they're going to show you 3 center templates, and then that button on the far right-hand side, the one that I'm circling right now, allows you to be able to browse the gallery for more. I'm going to go ahead and click on that browse the gallery for more, and you can see here that you have a plethora of different templates available to you. You have business collaboration templates, you have activities and events templates, schools and education, clubs and organizations, personal and family, government and nonprofits. So if you were doing local, state, and federal government contracting, you might want to look at the government and nonprofits Google Sites in order to be able to develop a site where you collaborate with your potential procurement officers and or cater to them in terms of marketing. If you wanted to do business collaboration, you could create an intranet site, basically a private site where only you and your staff can host documents and discuss new ideas and discuss strategy, all of that fun stuff, all right within the Google Sites page. And did I mention this is all free? So,
Ray, we have a
yeah,
question.
Sure, Tracy.
Is rolling over from an existing PHP website into Google an option, or would you have to create a new one from scratch?
You're always going to have to create a new website within the Google Sites tool from scratch. The idea of moving from PHP to Google Sites is a matter of just copying the content, and that is a manual process. So there will never be an automated process to pull those types of tools over. You'll have to just basically copy and paste it in. But as I'll show you when we get going forward, to the person who's asking the question, you'll be able to just literally highlight, copy, and paste into an editor that is very similar to a text editor like Microsoft Word or Google Docs or OpenOffice and so forth. Okay. So we have all of these templates, and in this case, I'm just going to click on Business Collaboration here, and I see Professional Site. So I'm going to just go ahead and choose this intranet site template so that I have the site template to show up in terms of a preview. I can see the preview here of what it's going to look like, and I can see the little description that they provide for me. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Select. Notice that the template that I've chosen has now shown up right here. And now below there, I'm just going to type in the name of my new site. This site name is going to show up where you would normally have what's called the title of your website, which is the bar up here, if everyone can see on your screen. These tabs where these names, where it says Create New Site, Google Sites, Home, Google Docs, Google to Great, Google Sites, these little tabs are where the titles of your websites go, and they're very important to Google and the other search engines. This name your site field here is very important for you. So if you want to be found in the other search engines, you want to make sure that this is a very descriptive, keyword-rich, as I like to call it, keyword-rich site name. So you want to name your business products and services along with the company name. Okay, so I'm just going to use this as a private intranet site, so that I don't have to worry about so much the idea of naming the site anything important. But I'm going to call this the Small Business Project Management site. Okay. Now note right below that it says site location, and the site location creates a web address, or what's called a URL or a URI, and that uniform resource locator basically creates a link that's specially designed for your site. So it's where you would go whenever you were trying to return back to this particular site. So here we are. I create this little sites.google.com/site/small business project management site. Okay, and so there goes the selection there. I don't need to select a theme again because I've already done so above. I'm sorry, I've selected a template. You do need to select a theme. And so the template, of course, is the main exterior sort of architecture, the number of columns on the page and how the site is laid out in terms of content. So it gives you a higher level structure where containers will be of data. The theme itself is sort of the look and feel of the particular website. So that's colors and background and rounded edges. Is there going to be pictures in it or not pictures in it? So that's sort of one of those things. I'm going to go with the ultra simple. I'm going to go with micro light. I like micro light because it's bright, it's white, very easily readable, and so on and so forth. So I've selected a theme. I go ahead down here, and there's more options. These more options, of course, are for security and some other types of items. Site descriptions. Site descriptions also important because it's what search engines use in order to be able to find you. And this is about a 5 to 8 word sentence that describes your products and services. What value are you providing your customers? Okay, so if this was a website that you were marketing your business for, you would go ahead and put that very clear business unique selling proposition right there in about 5 to 8 words. Don't go probably any more than 10 words long, because then the system won't really even look at anything beyond the 10 words anyway. Below that allows you to be able to share everything with the world, basically making it a public website, or the next radio button down allows you to only share that website with specific users. So in this case, I only want to share the site with specific people, and so I go ahead and check the second radio button. Right below that is a site selection for mature content. So if your site does include mature content, you want to go ahead and let Google know that it does have mature content, and that will indicate to anyone browsing the web to have to select that they're older than the particular age in the jurisdiction in which they live in order to be able to look at that content. It then asks you to be able to, for security reasons, to make sure that spammers aren't, creating tons and tons of Google sites. It asks you to be able to type in this tool called CAPTCHA, and hopefully I've typed that in correctly. Now we're going to jump all the way back up to the top once we filled in all of the information. and we're going to go ahead and press that red button that says Create Again. Oh, I got the captcha wrong. Oh, I got it wrong again. Oh, it says my site name must be between 6 and 30 characters, so let's go ahead and shrink this down to less than that 30 characters. I think that should do it. So it's good to know you have between 6 and 30 characters to allow that URL to be attached to the sites.google.com/site name.
Ray, we have another question.
Sure, go for it.
Can I change my name anytime after it's been selected?
That is correct. You can. So you'll be able to change that name.
Oh, I'm sorry, my theme. Can I change the theme after it's been selected?
Absolutely, yes. You'll be able to change anything that you want. Anything in the system that I've just selected, you can change going forward. So they want you to fill out all those particular portions out the gate, and I recommend that you do, but you can change any of them in the future. Of course, once you start getting indexed and traffic to that site, you probably don't want to change URLs, web address names and so forth too often, because that will ruin, if someone has linked to you, that will ruin that link, and therefore it will decredit, discredit you basically to the search engines. So here we are. We're at the home page of the new site that I've created, and as you can see, that's it. I created the site. I have a documents section here. I have calendar, a discussion portal for the employees. I have an entire company directory, and any particular area of this, it's already created a natural sitemap for me. I can go ahead to documents, and I can use documents either from Google Docs or documents that I've uploaded myself. You can see here I can add files, I can add links, I can move the documents to and from particular areas and new folders within this particular section. I can delete items, and I can subscribe to changes. So one of the beautiful things about Google Sites is that you can get a notification when anything changes on the site, or you can go granular and only get changes to specific pages. So for instance, every time a document gets uploaded or downloaded from this particular page, I want to be notified. What I'll do is I'll go up here to this little tiny area, and you have 3 different tools. You have the Edit Page tool, which I'll show you momentarily. You have the Create a New Page button, and then you have the more drop-down menu. This is an action menu, and then you have Share. Share allows you to be able to share tools, and I'll show you that as well. So I'm going to drop down on More, and you can see very, very quickly you have all of these various functions to be able to use. So if I wanted to only get notifications to this particular page, I would go ahead and click this button. The third line down is the second action down, but it says Subscribe to Page Changes. So when I click on Subscribe to Page Changes, now every time this page changes, I will get an email shot over to me to my email inbox, and it will tell me you've had an update to this particular page. It goes even further than that, that if it's a text-based change that it can display, it will show you the text that has been added and the text that has been deleted right there in your email. So you don't have to go back to the site necessarily to go ahead and figure that out. But if you wanted to go ahead and interact with the site again and update it so that your staff or colleagues knew what you were talking about, you could go back to the site, go right into it, make the edit, and go on with your day. Really, really powerful tool to be able to subscribe to changes. Now, I can do that on a site level, meaning any change across the entire site that happens, I get a notification, and I can do that on, again, like I said, on the specific level. Every page I can subscribe to just specific pages in which I wanted to be able to do that. Okay, so let's go over the basic editing tools. When I click on the Edit button, which is this little pencil that shows up to the far left of the 4 buttons you see there in the top right-hand corner of your screen, I click on that Edit button. I can do this on any page that appears on the website, and you can see that I can go ahead and change the title of the page, and I can change any text that appears on the page, and I can just go in and change it. So they put in the lorem ipsum base template text, and there it is, and I can just go ahead right here and change it. I can go into Insert. I can find an image that I'd like to put into the website. I can go ahead and import that image and place it in the document, just like this image is placed into it. I can change the size of the image. I can shrink it. I can do all sorts of fun stuff. I can move it around, change all of the settings. As you can see, it just basically floats the little modification bar, the menu bar. Once you click on the image, floats right below it, so you have the option to be able to change it and so forth, right live within the page. So you have all of the various sort of, if you are familiar with a text editor like Microsoft Word or something like that, you can see you have all the various tools to be able to link and so forth. I can go into the direct HTML of the site and see the HTML of that particular area on the web page. Now, like I said in the very beginning, you can't really go ahead and change the CSS to the site. Notice it doesn't allow you to change the upper portions here. I'll show you in about 2 minutes how to get over to that area and how to make those modifications. But they don't let you do that here on the page level, which is really helpful, because if you have a couple of people on staff or you have a large staff that you want to be able to manage the content, you want them to be able to manage the content, but you don't want them to be able to change the site layout. This gives that structure for you. This gives you that wonderful control so that you don't have to worry about the site looking wonky because, Sally in accounting decided that she wanted to have, this pretty picture in this particular area on the entire site. Or that Bob over in receiving decided that he was going to go ahead and wipe out the logo on a particular page and accidentally wiped out the logo across the entire site as well. So it gives you that type of site-level structure so that you can do that. So here you can go ahead and just modify whatever you'd like to right directly in the page. I'm going to cancel, but you would go ahead and click Save. Now, the wonderful part also about Google products is that this is automatically saving nonstop. So whenever you make a change, it saves the draft natively in your system and across the Google servers. So right now it's taken a draft save, which means that if I hit cancel, it will remove the changes and not do anything. But when I click on save, it will go ahead and save that draft. If my computer were to crash right now, which I hope it doesn't in the midst of this webinar, it would go ahead and have saved that data. And when the browser resolves back again, it will have had that information saved in draft format for me so that I didn't lose anything. So for the most part, it's very, very safe in terms of keeping data saved for you. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and click on Cancel to bring me back, and it will discard all of the various changes that I've made to the text, as you can see. Okay, and so again, we can do that with any one of the pages that we've created. The second button in allows me to create a new page. And Google Sites has created this very smart tool which allows you to be able to create new pages and to decide on what kind of new page you're creating. So in this particular case, perhaps I wanted to create a new blog, for instance, just a quick internal blog where I sent little short announcements to everyone so that they could be updated as it relates to a specific project I'm working on. I'm going to select the template down here called Announcements. I'm going to call this Project X. Okay, and what it does now is you'll see that it's now sites.google.com, and the page URL is going to be /site/small-business-project-management/project-X. So that's my specific URL for this new page. I've made it the template called Announcements, and it gives me the ability to decide on the location of the page, and as I'll show you in a little while, in the next minute or so, you'll be able to go ahead and change the location of these pages later on down the road. But for now, I'm going to leave it as a top-level item, which means it's in the highest level of the site, the site's architecture, the site map. Okay, so I'm just going to click that one. I'm going to go ahead right back up to the top to the red button to create. Click on Create, and now I have a new page that's being displayed for me live, and you can see here goes Project X. If I go ahead and click on the Edit button, I can provide a quick sort of page that describes what this website's all about and so on and so forth. So I can go ahead and give a description about this sort of blog announcement type page. And then go ahead and save it so people can have a basic understanding. When I click on New Post now that Google has automatically created for me, it will open up what is very similar to a blog entry post. It allows me to be able to title the post. Okay, so I can title the post here. I can put text here. And then I go ahead and click on Save. And now here goes the title post and the text that I've placed. Anyone who has access to the site can go ahead and place comments right in the comment box. They can add the comment. They can add files to that particular announcement or that particular entry. And then we can have a conversation all built around this particular tool right within the new page that I've created in about 30 seconds, 30 to 45 seconds, okay? So this is a really, really powerful tool. You can do that with announcements. You can do that with a blank web page. You can do that with a list-based format, which creates sort of a spreadsheet-style item, and you can do that with some other things. So going up to the highest level of the tool, let's go back to Home. Here at Home, if I wanted to go ahead and pick a particular page, let's go back to my announcements page. Here at the announcements page that the system automatically created for me, I'm going to go ahead and click on Edit. And now I'm going to click on Insert. When I go up to Insert, Google has given me a whole host of other tools that allows me to go ahead and insert images, links, tables of contents. I can put sub-page listings. I can go ahead and post other types of what are called gadgets within the system. And so if you go to More Gadgets at the very bottom of the Insert screen, you'll see this gallery of particular items that add functionality to your website without you having to worry about coding or anything else like that. So in this case, they show you the featured ones under the featured items, but if you just go to the public listing, you can see them all, and you can type in a search listing for whatever it is that you might want to do. So if I wanted just a Google Calendar viewer, I can go ahead and use that Google Calendar viewer, select it, and add in the particular items that I needed to regarding seeing that calendar, my calendar feed, and all that other fun stuff. I can change border, I can change width and size of it, and all that fun stuff. Click on OK, and voila, you have a Google Calendar widget put right into the page, and it's live. It's pretty much active as soon as you click on Save. So here goes the Google Calendar viewer. It'll show the calendar if I actually put a calendar in there. I think it did put a calendar in there, but either way, you would have the feed of the calendar. There it is. It's displaying the calendar of the feed that was default within the system. But now I have a calendar that I can go ahead and view all the various particular items for that day by just clicking on the various items. But you can do that with all of the various gadgets in there. It's a very, very powerful tool. So I'm going to go back to editing the page just briefly so you can see that you can also import from that insert function all of the various Google tools that are available to you. And some of them we'll be going over in future webinars. So here we have the AdSense. If you have Google Calendar, Google Documents, if you wanted to import a Google Doc from your Google Docs account, you can go ahead and do that. Google Drawings, if you wanted to put together graphs or charts and other types of schema. Perhaps you developed a logo in your Google Drawing account. You could go ahead and use that drawing from that particular item. If you had a discussion email list and you wanted to use that through Google Group, you could go ahead and do that as well. Google Map, you wanted to place a map and directions to your retail location or to one of your office sites, you can go ahead and use Google Maps in order to be able to pinpoint your location, pinpoint all of your locations, and place them right within the system. You can manage photos. You can put in web slideshows, presentations, spreadsheets, video, and a lot more. Okay, so you have a lot of power when it comes to Google Sites, and again, all free. Okay, under Format, you can of course change all the normal things that you can change in a Word setting or a text editor setting. And many of these here are duplicated here on this little toolbar, this little icon toolbar. You can create tables and edit tables, and so forth, just very similarly to Excel and so on and so forth, not with all of the various formula and those types of complex algorithm tools, but then you would use Google Spreadsheets and just embed a Google spreadsheet within the site for those types of things. If you wanted to change the basic sub-layout of this particular page, you can create 1 column, 2 column, 3 column, and other types of site layouts right within this sub-page. It wouldn't change it for the entire architecture of the website, but just change it in this little sub-page that we have here that allows the title and base text to be modified, and you'd be able to do that right here. Okay, so that's pretty much modifying the system from within the site itself. When you're looking at each of the pages and so on and so forth, I want to show you sharing, and then we'll talk about look and feel of the entire site. So when I click on Share, it's going to take me over to the Manage Site portion of Google Sites. And this is where we have some control over the site-wide permissions as it relates to the website. Now, at this point, if I go ahead and type in an email address, like my normal email address, I can go ahead and notify by email that I've given myself permission to edit this particular site. I can give myself ownership of the site. I can give another person ownership of the site, and that gives them the highest level administrative access to that site. They can delete the site. They can go ahead and modify all of the parts of the site. They can make site-wide changes. If I click on Edit, that just means that they can go into the site and they can make changes, but typically they can't delete something on the site-wide level. They can't do particular items like giving other people access and so on and so forth.
Ray,
and then finally, yes?
Could you show us again where you clicked Share?
Oh yeah, sure. So I'm going to go back to the site. In the top right-hand corner, you have this blue button with a lock that's called Share, and we're going to click on Share. And it's going to take us over to the portion of the site called Manage Site. Okay? And so there you can add an email address for anyone with obviously with an email address, but you particularly want to send it to people who have Google accounts. So if a person doesn't have a Google account, they'll have to create a Google account in order to be able to access this portion of the site management, whether that's editing a specific page or editing on a site-wide level. Now again, if this page was public and viewable by the web, one, you wouldn't see any of this stuff that says Google at the top, okay? You would just see the site. You wouldn't see an edit button. You wouldn't see a create new page button. The viewer from the outside as a public page would, if it were displayed to the public, would see it as a normal website, you know, with just your logo and all those other things on it. They wouldn't have the administrative, you know, tools displayed. So just so you understand, the person doesn't have to have a Google account in order for you to market to them. But if you want them to manage or interact with the site in some way, shape, or form, they will have to have a Google account. You have a Google account if you have any Google product, basically. So if you use Google Calendar, Gmail, or anything else like that, Google Analytics, you'll be able to log into the site from that account email address. Okay? So you just add the email address that you want the person to go who you want to be able to have access to. You give them the access level that you want to, ownership, editing power, or viewing power, and then you go ahead and click Share and Save, and they'll be added to the system. Now, say that you only want people to be able to have page-level access. Well, up here in the top right-hand corner, you have this button called Enable Page-Level Permissions. Two functions as it relates to page-level permissions is that once you go ahead and turn it on, and again, sorry, I jumped ahead of my game here. Let's go back here. So here you have the Enable Page Level Permissions. You're going to click on Enable Page Level Permissions. You're going to then have a button that tells you to turn it on. So it's just a confirmation. I'm going to click on this confirmation button. And now what it does is it shows me the entire site layout on the left-hand side, okay? And I can go page by page and give permissions to specific people, okay? Now, the quick and dirty here is that you have to add people at this level, at the very highest level, before you can give them any other page level access below them. That doesn't mean that you're giving them any access to the entire site. They just need to be added here before they can be added to any page below it. Okay? So you want to add them here, and then you want to give them permission in the specific page that you want them to have permission within. Okay? Any questions about that, feel free to ask. Okay? So you can do page level permissions. Here on the left-hand side of the Manage Site, I'm just going to show you some of the web layout and site layout functions, and then we'll talk about some of the basic tools that are displayed here on the screen for you. So going down to the site layout, you can see site layout, colors and fonts, and themes. It's the last three links on the bottom left-hand corner of your screen within Google Sites. We're going to click on Site Layout. And you can see here you have the ability to do a couple of things. You can change the site layout, you can configure a search, and you can go ahead and change some of this navigation and content containers as we typically call them. So if you wanted to have something other than just the navigation bar are the links that you saw on the main page, documents, calendar, announcements, and so on and so forth, right there on the left-hand sidebar. Perhaps you wanted something else to be displayed there. You could go ahead and add a sidebar to that portion, which is you could add text, which could be just a quick and dirty explanation of what your services are. You can show recent activity to the website. You can show a countdown to a specific date. Perhaps if you're an event planner, you can go ahead and put a countdown to your next event that you consistently display on your website for your customers to know when your event's coming up. You can show the various site owners and page authors to that particular site. So lots of different options to be able to go ahead and change the sidebar there. So I'm going to go ahead and click on Change Site Layout, and you can see you have some options here in terms of changing the site layout. You can change the width of the site, and again here you can change that based on pixel size. They show you the example. You can change a pixel size, or you can change a percentage of the web browser in which you're at. In general, I would let Google decide on the width size. They pretty much know what the average web browser can view and do those types of things. But if you have specific requirements, you can go ahead and do that. You can have a header on the website. The header is that top portion across the top of the screen, and it allows you to be able to have a header which can have your logo and the name of the site displayed, and you can go ahead and dictate some of those functions there. We don't have time this morning, but I just wanted to show you where they are so that you can play with those. You can have a horizontal navigation bar, which is basically sort of like breadcrumbs leading forward to the page you're on, so that you can go back to any page that you might, in the hierarchy, that you might want to go back to as you're browsing the web. So if you believe that your customers or your target audience, as they're viewing the website, would want to go back to, 3 levels up, if you have 3 pages deep, it would allow you to be able to go ahead and use that horizontal navigation bar. You can have a sidebar or not a sidebar. You can add a footer or not a footer. Say, for instance, you wanted to put copyright information there at the bottom of your page. You can go ahead and create a footer and add those as well. So if I click OK, you can see that those items are now available to us. See down to the footer that I just added, the normal system footer, where you can customize system footer links and so on and so forth. And it gives you lots of options in terms of printing links and all that fun stuff. So here at the header, I'm going to go ahead and click on Change Logo. If I wanted to put no logo or a custom logo, I can go ahead and do that. So here I'm going to choose Custom Logo, and I'm going to go ahead and pick a logo for myself. Let's just pick my company logo, and let's see what we have here in terms of my company logo. And, oh well, let's see, where is my company logo? I know it's in here somewhere. Here, so I decide to put in this logo. We're going to just put a tiny logo in here. I select my logo, and you'll see that it'll display a preview of that logo once it loads. There it is. Click OK. And now when I go back to the site, I'm just going to jump over to the site really quickly so you can see it. You can see that now my logo has been added next to my the name of the site that I've created right there in the header. Okay, so I'm going to go over to the site management area again. So site layout, lots of different options. You can change the look and feel, by playing with these little tools. Again, it's all just play with it. You can't break anything, so don't worry about it. You can navigate all these particular items. Colors and fonts is the next one below site layout. And here you have the ability to change the theme. Remember, at the very beginning, I went ahead and picked a theme. I can go ahead and scroll through and choose any of the themes in here. There's about 30 or 40 themes that they provide for you to be able to use. So if I wanted to change from the micro light to blank slate, you can see right here in the screen panel below, they give me a live preview of the site of what it will look like once I've changed that particular theme. Okay, so if I decide to go with something really bold like Terra Water, you can see that right below here, you can see the site change automatically on a site-wide level. Okay, so a really, really helpful tool to be able to see what your site will look like when you've gone ahead and changed the theme. In general, for your small business website, unless you are really planning on customizing very well, think about using a very simple background that's white with dark text so that people can read it. But again, that if you have someone who's a designer who's working to make sure that it's a readable site and that the layout works with it, that's fine. But if you're just starting out and you want to go basic, make sure that it's dark text on a light background so people can go ahead and read that. Here on the entire page, underneath the entire page, you can go ahead and change background color for pages. You can change background color for pages. Now remember, when you're in this particular space, this is changing this across the entire site. Okay, so you're going across the entire site. In the top right-hand portion, you can go ahead and browse themes, which at the very beginning we talked about themes. Here, this is a drop-down of the themes, but if you actually wanted to see them in the preview format, you can go ahead and browse the themes up here. So here goes all the various, options. You can change site header, page, basically page background color, image, background image, font, link color, and visited link color. Under the site header, you can change all of those same options. Content area, changing all of the various content, colors and fonts and so forth. Content area gadgets, you can change the content area gadgets. So if you put a gadget in, you can go ahead and dictate what those look like as well. Sidebar gadgets, and so on and so forth. Okay, so that's where you change all of those various items. And then, of course, the last button down here is themes. And again, that's the same exact stuff that we were talking about changing here. It's just put there as a main level navigation so that you can get to it quickly without having to go to a subpage in order to find those options. Okay, I wanted to go over the basic other items here just so you could quickly see. Going up to the top level navigation when you're in the Manage Site item, you can go ahead and see recent activity. So here, minute by minute, it shows me various changes to the website that have been done, so that if I were coming back to the site after being away for vacation, I can go ahead and see what's been changed on the page from an administrative perspective, so I can see what's been changed, and it'll show me the edits live right here on the website. Okay, I can see all the pages on the site, and the wonderful thing about this is that you can see all the various pages that are here. I can click on the plus signs that will open up and expand them, and I can drag and drop pages to any particular place that I wanted to. So if you wanted to move a page, it doesn't belong in a particular place, you can go ahead and move them live just by clicking, holding, and dragging it to another place. Okay, so if I wanted this to go up here and under discussion, it's moved. Okay, so there it is. Now it's under discussion. Under attachments, attachments are basically files that have been uploaded to the system that you wanted to be able to have available for viewing. Typically, they're pictures and other types of things, so you can see where you have all of your pictures that you have uploaded and so forth. You can download them from this area. Again, you have up to 100 megabytes in the free account in order to upload these items. So you don't want to put very large documents in here, but it is a place where you can put that information. Page templates. Again, page templates are the area where I created the new web page, that singular web page, and it gives me this sort of base template to work from. Announcements are, like I said, a sort of a mini blog. The file cabinet is a place to put file storage. List format allows you to be able to create sort of spreadsheet style lists, and a normal default web page, which is a blank page that you can go ahead and create. You can create new templates and put them in there, and that allows you to be able to do that by clicking on Create Page Templates. But for the most part, those four standard options give you pretty much all the power you need in order to use Google Sites. I'm not going to go over app scripts because that's a whole world of difference. And if you knew JavaScript and so forth, you can go ahead and play with the app scripts. Deleted items, of course, is anything that you've deleted. It includes pages and files. If you go down to General, you can go ahead and change all of the items. Someone had asked at the very beginning of the hour whether or not you could go ahead and change the name of your site and the site description. This is where you'll be able to go ahead and do that. You can change the original landing page of the website. So if somebody goes to sites.google.com/site/ your business name and type that into the URL bar, you could change where they actually landed from home to another page on your website. So you can take them somewhere else.
Ray,
copy this. Yes.
I'm going to interrupt for a second because we've got a few questions going on. Can you set up different templates on separate pages, or is it a main theme locked into the whole website?
So it depends on what you're talking about in terms of template. The site-level template is site-wide, yes. The page templates are those formats for being able to have a list or an announcement type template. But in terms of the site-wide look, you have control. You have control over the entire site in one place. If you wanted to make the particular area of the website look differently, then if you go under the site layout functions, this area here, you would be able to go ahead and make a couple of changes to the way in which colors and fonts look in here. So you have lots of customization, but you do have one full, site layout structure that you have to decide upon.
Great, thank you. Some of the other questions got answered, so you can go back, move on.
Okay, wonderful. So you can go ahead and if in the next webinar on May 3rd, we'll be talking about Google Analytics, and here this is where you would enable Google Analytics. One of the cool tools that Google Sites provides you is that a lot of the world is going mobile, and one of our future webinars is going to be on Google mobile tools, the Android platform, and so on and so forth. And here, mobile, it allows you to be able to literally click a button, and it automatically adjusts the website for someone viewing on a mobile phone, or on a mobile device. So Google gives you this amazing tool for free to be able to go ahead and just click a checkbox, and now your entire site is mobile friendly. So that's a really, really powerful tool, and I recommend that you go ahead and enable that when you do set up your Google site. Under sharing and permissions, we've already talked about that. Google AdSense is that if you're writing a site that you wanted to garner traffic from the public and create revenue, generate revenue from that, you can go ahead and do that. And then under web address is where you would go ahead and add a custom web address for your site. So that's just a brief overview of those managed site functionalities. And from there, I'm going to hand it over to Tracy so that she can have us answer any other questions you might have and give some announcements.
Great. Ray, we have a couple of general questions. One ties into what you were just talking about, which is, can you use the name of your current website if you choose to convert to Google Sites?
That's correct. If you have a custom domain, www.yourbusiness.com, you can go ahead and port that over to a Google Sites installation, a Google Sites tool, and all you have to do is have your web registrar go ahead and change the CNAME record, what's called the CNAME record within your zone file, to direct it to the Google servers, so that when someone types in your custom URL, they're taken to the Google site.
Okay. Another question, describe web address. What does this do?
Web address? Web address is that custom domain function. So if you were adding a custom domain, you would type that into that web address field, and then it would give you instructions on how to create the custom domain, how to port the custom domain to Google Sites.
Okay. If you have a page on your website that allows the viewer to click on a certain product and it brings them out a PDF technical sheet, is this possible to do with Google?
Yes. What I would do is I would actually upload that PDF to your Google Docs account. So you upload it to Google Docs, and then you allow Google Docs to share that file publicly. It'll give you a link. You then use that link to embed the PDF on your Google site, and what it does is it renders the PDF in near pristine fashion that no other product really out there does very well, because it renders it using HTML5, which is the newest, latest, and greatest web coding standard. And so therefore it will display right within the browser without them having to download it. They have the option to download it if they hover over the document, but it displays it really well and nicely and cleanly and very, very quickly. So yes.
Okay. Want to be sure I understand correctly. Is this free? Okay, designing the website is free. Is there a monthly website hosting charge, or is it free hosting?
Yeah, there's no hosting charge. It's free in every way, shape, or form. Again, up to the 100 megabytes of storage level. At that point, you can buy more storage, in which case it will become an annual fee for you to be able to increase the storage amounts. And if you have a Google Apps account and you're using the at which point, if you do go over 100 megabytes, it makes sense to then just use Google Apps to manage the Google Sites. That's 25 gigabytes of storage, and it's $50 per user per year. So if you're one user, $50 per year, divide that across 12 months, that's not a lot of money.
Okay. Could you repeat about the PDF rendering?
Sure. So when you render in PDF, there's a couple of ways in which web browsers today look at stuff. If you have an older web browser, what we call legacy web browsers, when the PDF renders, it may not render properly, or it may just want to push it to download. If you go ahead and upload the PDF to Google Docs has all of the tools built into it. So you just basically share the document publicly, from your Google Docs account, which doesn't compromise anything else in your Google Docs account. It's just that specific document that's public. You go ahead and take that link and put it onto your Google site in some way, shape, or form. And now when Google loads that PDF, Google knows how to display that PDF perfectly for you within any web browser. So whether I had a web browser back from the excite.com days, or whether I had, what's a Netscape Navigator, whether I had Netscape Navigator or whether I have the latest Google Chrome browser and open it up, it's going to render, it's going to open for me, and it's going to display that PDF in a pristine fashion. I then have the option to download it or otherwise, but that's how I would host a PDF.
Okay. Ray, can you go ahead and log back into the site that you just built so people can see it? We also have a couple of questions kind of inside the tool.
Sure.
One is there a way within that the management tools to determine the storage used or remaining? And can you demonstrate inserting a video into the site?
Oh, sure. Okay. So let's go on over to Manage Site. Oops, sorry. Let's go back. So when I click on the Manage Sites function, when I go to Manage Site from the drop-down More options, you can see right here in the top right-hand corner, it shows you your site storage. Okay, so when I created the base level template and it created all of those pages, from the template it created the documents portal, it created the calendar page, it created all of that stuff. It only used 3% of my 100 megabytes of use. So from there, if I'm using separate Google Docs accounts and other types of items, those are separate. Those are considered separate from the storage allotment here. So I wouldn't be using very much space here, but this is where it would cover your space, right here from the general navigation link on your left-hand side of the Manage Site function. It'll show you your site storage. Okay. What was the other question?
Showing them how to add a video.
Oh, yes. Okay. So let's go over to any particular page. We're on the home page. I'm going to go up and click on the Edit Page button. And then say I wanted to add a video right here in the main page of the website. I'm going to go up to the top left-hand corner. It says Insert. Go to Video. And then I have the option of basically uploading a video to Google Video, YouTube, or a video that's within my own Google Docs account. Okay, so if I have a video that's uploaded to Google Docs, I can do that. I'm just going to go to YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and decide on a particular YouTube video that let's see, one that I've, well, this account won't have any that I've actually viewed recently, but we'll see what we can find here. So let's go and type in Eric Schmidt. Eric Schmidt is the CEO of Google. And here goes Eric Schmidt talking about using Facebook's data. That should be funny. So we're going to go ahead and click on Eric Schmidt's YouTube video. Here it is. And what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to just go to my URL bar and I'm going to copy, which on a PC would be just Control-C. On a Mac it would be Command-C. I'm going to copy that link. And now I'm going to go back to my Google Sites page. Here it says paste the URL of my YouTube video. Going to go ahead and paste that in. It asks me whether I want to include a border around the YouTube video and whether I wanted to include a title, basically giving it a title. I'm going to just unselect both of them. I just want it to be very clean and import it. I'm going to center the video. And there goes the video. It's there in temporary format. And I have a couple of other options if I wanted to go back to if I click on the gear, it takes me back to the properties. But when I click on it wherever I want to, when I click on Save, in a few moments, it will go ahead and appear. And there goes the video. Okay, so now if I hover over the video as a visitor to the website, it will go ahead and give me the play button, and I can go ahead and play that video. And there it is. Okay, right there on the site homepage. So if you were visiting my site, you would see this. This would be exactly the view you have on screen is what you would see, and you would be able to just click on play, and it will go ahead and play that video right within the browser.
Okay, great. We have a few more minutes. I'm going to try to get through the few questions that we have left.
Okay.
Can you embed a live feed of Facebook and Twitter on the Google sites?
There are a couple of ways in which you can do that, yes. I would say that's beyond the purview of me being able to describe right now, but you can do it.
Okay. Is it possible to give users a login access to only certain pages for those with logins?
That's correct. So here at the permissions page, sharing and permissions, you can go ahead and once you've given them site level access, that is, you've just, here you have to basically just give them access on this level. You don't have to do anything but view. And then below that, you can go to calendar and just literally add one person to the calendar. And that's all they can do is view or edit that particular page. So you can give granular access to specific pages to specific people, yes.
Okay. How is Google Sites useful for those of us that already have a full functioning traditional website? Is it meant to be a complement or a replacement?
So it can, if you have a fully functioning website, it can be a wonderful complement. For instance, I internally use Google Sites as a project management portal for my clients. So if I want to be able to interact and share information with my clients, it acts as my complete project management portfolio, and I can go ahead in there and I can share my clients on particular pages and my staff on particular pages, and all of that's managed within the same tool. My clients can't see other clients' work, and only I can see everything, and my staff can see certain items that they can't see with other people. If they're not working on a particular client file, or there's some type of NDA that's requiring us to silence that information, I can go ahead and do that. I can just silence that to those particular people. I can allow contractors in to the site for temporary periods. So if I need someone to do work ad hoc, I can go ahead and give them access now and then take it away later. If someone goes ahead and leaves the company, if I remove them from the site level requirements, they lose access to all of the site. I can see everything that happens when someone makes the changes to them. So yes, if you have a website currently, you can definitely find a use for Google Sites as a wonderful complement. If you don't have a website, this is a wonderful tool to be able to get started.
Great. Another question, I have a Drupal Gardens website. I'm curious how to get more hits on Google. I already have a Google Plus button. Is there a webinar that could cover this in the future?
Yes, we will be talking about Google Search on not this next webinar on May 3rd, but the one after that. And within the Google Search, we'll be talking about primarily how to search using the function, but in that I'll be giving some understanding of, and actually the Google Analytics webinar on May 3rd, we'll be talking about search engine optimization from a broad level, and it will show you why and how to develop more traffic to your website by looking at the information, looking at the people who are visiting your website, and developing that web traffic.
Great. We have a couple of questions about getting help if needed. Is Google staff available for technical support during site creation and ongoing free?
Okay, so yes, if you have the free tool, you're not going to get customer service from Google. However, the help functionality within the system is user created, and there is a whole host of it. Okay, so don't think that you're going to sit alone. If you click on the More section, the More drop-down action menu, here at the very bottom it says Sites Help. There is a huge community of people using Google Sites, okay? And you can go in there and you can ask questions. There's a beginner's guide that takes you through how to create stuff. It has all sorts of fun stuff that you have the ability. You can connect Google Places and Google Sites, which we'll talk about in a future webinar. But here, if you have a problem, under Fix a Problem, you basically go in there and you can go ahead and talk to folks. So if you have trouble, or if you think that there's a bug in the system, all from the Sites Help portion, you can go in and talk to people. There is a portion of the site that is all user-generated content, so you can ask a question, and there are Google staff members as well as sort of Google Sites experts who are right in the system who will say, oh no, you just want to do this, and it'll fix it. And so they're readily available, and they're very, very prompt and quick, even though there's no guarantee of it they are very responsive to questions and so forth. But if you have a question, it's most likely been asked in the how-to portion of the Google Sites help.
Okay. Last question, and then I'm going to wrap up. Is taking down the website as easy as putting it up? For instance, if I designed a website for a particular event, and after the event I wanted to take the website down and then use the URL again later, say next year,
Yeah,
is
sure.
that doable?
Again, you click on the More function, you go down to Manage Site. If you have ownership access to the site, if you click on General, go to the very bottom of the General page. Oh, no, maybe not the Sharing and Permission. Where is it? There is an option here for you to be able to delete the site. Let's see, where is it? Oh, no, actually, it's for here. For here, we go back. So you're at the main Google Sites page. If I log into a site, I go over to More, I should have the ability to delete the site. If I go to Manage Sites, oh, there it is. So under Copy Site, publish the site as a template or delete the site, click on Delete, delete. Everything I just did has been deleted. And now, once it's deleted, I can go over to deleted sites at the main portion of the website. Of the Google Sites pages, they have the two links, My Sites and Deleted Sites. There it is. I can restore the site right from the deleted site. Now remember, the sites that have been deleted more than 30 days will be permanently removed. So you may not be able to get access to the exact same name if you delete the site. Okay, so don't presume that you can get this same URL back just because you've deleted it. But you can't, as I just did. I just deleted it and it took me, just the time you saw on screen.
Great. Well, I want to thank you, Ray, for this very informative presentation, and thank you all for participating today. There were several people that asked if the webinar was recorded, and it was, and in about a week it'll be posted on the Virginia SBDC site, so virginiasbdc.org. Just a few housekeeping items. Tomorrow you'll be receiving a follow-up email on this webinar. There'll be an evaluation link in the email. Please help us continue to improve our training by taking the time to complete the evaluation. I also put a link to that evaluation in the chat window that's active now if you wanted to go ahead and fill out your evaluation now instead of waiting for that email to arrive in your inbox. If you're interested in expanding your digital presence, please contact your local SBDC to schedule one-on-one counseling sessions with Ray Sidney-Smith. And I hope to see you all on May 3rd for our next webinar on Google Analytics. Thank you all.